Hi there, my fellow beings. Right, it's just after 7 o'clock, I suppose about 7:15 in the morning, and I'm off for my usual Monday morning breakfast in the backwoods. It's quite nice. Right, see a little while down the trail. Right, as you can see, I'm having breakfast in the woods as I mentioned just now, and I'm firing up my Heineken stove just to give it an airing and to see how it goes. I've never actually used it in a woodland setting yet, so it's a bit bulky, but I'm hoping it's going to prove its worth for some of the projects I have lined up for it. And there we go, my breakfast cooking away. Bit of salami and some eggs. And I've just had my breakfast. Well, I had it about 20 minutes ago, I suppose. I set up a kitchen tarp and shall go over that because there's some novel little things I've picked up on courses that I think are rather good, and I'm going to do some favourite knots. Obviously knotcraft is an important part of this, setting camps up. I'm trying to get away from setting the camp up now and do some other projects. What I've got lined up in the near future hopefully is making birch tar oil. I've started collecting the birch bark for that from the dead birches around here. I've got a little idea in mind which I'll come to in a minute, but as I say, today I'm going to concentrate on doing some my favourite knots, the knots that I like to use within bushcraft, or what we call bushcraft. To me it's woodcraft. I'm out in the woods. Bushcraft is the sexy word, and I'm going to go over my kitchen tarp in just a second. Well, there's my large shelterable kitchen tarp. It's a 8-foot by 12-foot tarp, or ground sheet actually, and I've got a 4x4 metre tarp indoors which will do the same, but sadly that is silver, so it's a little bit conspicuous for this sort of setting. It's set up high so I can stand up in it. I can have a small fire going in underneath it. It's laid over the ridge line, and you can hang your clothes up underneath there to dry off if it's raining. It's great just to spend the day in if the weather's inclement. As you can see, my little fireplace is down there. That's the Heineken stove. So I shall wander down and we shall go and see what we've got. There we've got an bank slippery hitch coming down, ridge line underneath, hooked around, and I swung on the tree a little bit for this, and it comes down, and I've tied it off down there. Don't know whether you can see, I've used the trees as the guy-outs, but there are other ways of tying this off, which I shall explain in a minute. I use a type of toggle type guy out because I don't want to pack all the cordage in with the tarp, because the tarp will serve for other purposes. While on my campcraft course the other week, they showed us some various shelters to set up, and I got the idea from the chief instructor's set for his canoeing. When he goes canoeing, he takes a really large tarp out with him, and what he does, instead of having all the cordage on the tarp like we traditionally do, for these large tarps he has all the cordage set up in a small bag, or a couple of small bags, and basically that's what he's done to the end of the cordage. He's put a toggle on for the guy lines. Now obviously these fit through the guy holes on the corners of the tarp, or wherever else you wish to fix them, and it actually makes it good. It makes a very efficient setup, saves you having to deal with tangles when you undo your tarp, and obviously being a bigger tarp it does help. Right, here's some cordage. Right, when I'm setting up my tarp for the initial tie up, I use one of 3 knots I use either a timber hitch, the event figure of 8 slippery hitch, or the favourite one is just the event slippery hitch. I shall demonstrate the event slippery hitch first. So basically you put the tree around, taking the working end around the back of the tree from left to right. You pull it through so you've got a loop sewn. You twist it so the top, so it looks thus. Right, take the working end, put it through and pull. Slide it up to the tree, and there you go. And it holds my weight. I'm a big lad. Very good. To release, you just pull it and it's done. Right, the event figure of 8 slippery hitch, which is the one that Mears has a tendency to use an awful lot when he's putting his tarps up. Again, you pull it round. The working end is on your right. Hold it once, twice. You bring it down, up. Look up to the stars, down, and pull it through. And you pull it like these, like this. And again, it holds my weight. The beauty of these 2 knots is quick release. You put it. The event hitches were developed by herders in Siberia to combat with the cold weather. Right, now this is the timber hitch, which most of us will be familiar with. Pull the working end over the top, turn it back on itself once, twice, 3 times or 4, and you just pull it tight. And that holds onto itself, and you can get quite a good tight knot on that one. Well, you've got one end of your tarp up, you need to get the other end up now, and I'm not sure what this knot is called. I think in Essential Bushcraft it's called tarp taut hitch, but basically, again, you bring your working end around the back from left to right and you pull tight. Bring the working end under and then over, round the back again, crossing over, so it crosses over the, at some point it crosses over the cordage. If I just turn around, you see it crosses over the cordage, and you bring it round, bring the working end round from right to left then. And then basically you lean back on it and you've got a triangle. You loop up, bring a loop up, down through the triangle, then pull this bit tight, thus, and then basically you've got a very tight, very nice ridgeline for your tarp. I'll show you this again. You've pulled it around, you lean back, triangle. In fact, you can do the triangle over the top, which is in some cases easier. You put it up, through, push it in tight as you can, hold that, then pull, and then your tarp is up. Again, the beauty of this is you've one quick pull and it's undone. And there we go. Right, we'll move on to guy lines now. Now I shall use this for the purposes of setting out the guy line knots. Obviously my guy lines are 2mm nylon cord, which is very strong and does the job perfectly. Right, I shall be back in a second. Right, we've got the clove-hitch here, so right, you've got your cordage, you fold it once, twice, over, and then if you grab your piece of wood, which I'm using one of my donk logs, put over, tie, and there you go. Your clove-hitch tied really tight. Hopefully in a future video I'll be using this to demonstrate how to make a rudimentary backwoods ladder. But that's your clove-hitch. Constructor knot, or the constrictor knot, is slightly different and it's a little bit more awkward. Grab your cordage, do an S shape, twist it, fold it back on itself, very similar to the setup you did with the clove-hitch. So you've got something like that. Put over the knot, over your piece of wood, and pull. And you've got your constrictor knot. And that will hold fast. Very simple way of tying these knots on. Those, as I have said already, are my favourite knots, or the knots that I choose to use when I'm out backwoods in it and tarping it up. There are many other knots out there, things like sheep shank for shortening ropes. In some future videos I may cover these, but as I say, these are my favourite knots. Always have a good bit of cordage with you. Always carry a tarp with you, because you never know when it may rain or you may need some shelter. And catch you there. A challenge to you, my dear people. We've been tagged for knives, we've been tagged for navigation equipment, firelighting equipment, all sorts of things. One thing I've never seen that's never come up are books, literature, something that we read. Now, I would like to throw down a challenge to those, to your 4 favourite books, but these are bushcraft related, not directly to do with bushcraft, so you cannot include Mears or any of Ray Mears' books or Lofty Wiseman's book. Any other book can be added. I haven't got them with me now, but the 4 books I would tend to carry are published by Collins and edited by Paul Sterry, and they're UK Mammals, UK Flowers, Fungi, and a book on woodland tracking by Preben Moore, I think. It's a Swedish book but published in English, and it deals with animal tracks and signs. That's the name of the book, Animal Tracks and Signs. So they're my 4 books. British Mammals, British Flowers, British Fungi, and Animal Tracks and Signs. Those are the 4 books that I would like to have with me when I'm out in the woods. There are many other books, obviously. I've got so many I don't know what to do with, but those are the 4 that I like the best of all. So, there's the challenge for you folks. The 4 books that you would refer to or take with you when out in the woods. As I say, but the caveat is nothing by Ray Mears, nothing by Mears, and nothing by Lofty Wiseman.